Hope you guys had an awesome Labor Day weekend. I know I needed those 3 days to just kind of decompress and refocus. And I hope you guys got to do the same and get out and enjoy, man, some beautiful weather. But now I'm getting to see a lot of you guys back in class, which is incredible. For those of you who I may not see for the foreseeable future, I still hope you're doing well. Please feel free to chime in at the 30-minute mark of any hour. I'll have our Google Meet for that class live. Please feel free. I would love to talk with you. I'd love to catch you up. I'd love to answer your questions, whatever you need. But for now, we've got ourselves a short but important lesson today. This is chapter 1, day 5, part 2. This is the back page of day 5, not chapter 5. And what you're going to notice, once again, I know we've dealt with them before, but you're going to see some word problems. But if you can remember back to days 2 and 3 when we talked about word problems, I gave you guys a little bit of a heads up of a 3-step process we can use to help us solve most word problems. So I want to see if you can remember the steps here. Take a second. 3 of them. We got step 1, step 2, and step 3. Now, step 1, we need to identify our variable. Because in a word problem, they're always going to ask you to solve for something. They're going to ask you to find the unknown quality. And you know where they usually ask you, or at least tell you, what your variable is going to be? Usually in the last sentence. Now, I want to give you guys a second. Define a variable, write an equation, and then solve. We got 3 steps ourselves right here. You can see it right here. And they're going to kind of follow our 3 steps. So step 1, read over this problem, especially the last sentence, and let's see what you guys get here. All right, I got F. I just kind of came up with that one. That is the number of friends who purchase ride passes. And they told us this right here, that it was part of the question. How many friends purchased ride passes? Well, step 2. Find a total. A lot of times these word problems are going to say, hey, here's the total amount of people, here's the total amount of cost. They're going to kind of give you a total. And that's usually what everything is going to end up equaling when we set up our equation. I see right here, total cost $105.50. So something is going to equal $105.50. Now, step 3. Plug in other numbers and your variable. So we know our variable's F, number of friends who purchase ride passes. But we also have some other numbers here. For example, we see that it's going to be $7.25 for admission. Well, guess what? All 10 of your friends are going to this fair. So that $7.25 is going to apply to all 10 friends. So that's $7.25 times 10. But on top of that, it's $5.50 per ride pass. $5.50 per ride pass, but we don't know how many of them got ride passes. So 5 plus $5.50, and then how do we show that we're trying to find the number of ride passes, people or friends who purchase ride passes? We take that $5.50 and you multiply it by the number of friends who did purchase them. And check it out, guys. We've got ourselves an equation here. And the step that I didn't include in here, but that hopefully you recognize, is we got to solve. We didn't set this up just to not find out. So let's do it. 725 times 10 That's going to be $72.50 plus 550. F equals 105.50. Now, we want to subtract that 72.50 over, because remember, reverse order of operation. Before we can divide that 550 from F, we want to get everything else away. So 550 F equals, you do that subtraction, that's going to come out to a nice 33, repping Larry Bird there. And then 550 is being multiplied to F, so let's divide by 550. And how many friends ended up purchasing ride passes? 6 friends purchased ride passes. Never forget what you're finding, guys. 6 friends purchased ride passes. So with that in mind, I want to see if you guys can follow our 3 steps here on number 2. Take your time, and whenever you unfreeze the video, we'll see if we solve this in the same way. You can go ahead and pause now. All right, here's our setup, just to make sure we're good. Entree costs $4.75. On top of that, we know each additional item is going to be $125, but guess what they're asking? How many additional items did we order? So A is the number of additional items. If it's $125 per additional item, that's $125 times A. And we know that's all adding up to our total. Paid a total of $9.75 for 1 entree and some additional items. So we find that the customer ordered 4 additional items. Now, like I said, this is a pretty short day. We're going to do one more together, one that I think might confuse you just a little bit. And then I'm going to let you guys finish up with a couple final practice problems, and we'll be ready for our future homework. So let's go ahead and see, guys, about number 3. Again, my process, I'll skim over, but then I'm immediately looking for the last sentence. We want to write and solve an equation to find George's age. So I'm going to use a G, and that is, well, we can keep it pretty simple. That's George's age. So what are some things we're told here? Well, we're told that Jasmine is 3 years older, or I'm sorry, Jasmine is 23 years old. Now, Jasmine is 3 years less than half of George's age. So it looks like a lot of how we're going to find out George's age is based off Jasmine. In fact, the total they give us is Jasmine's. Obviously, we don't know George's age, or else this wouldn't even be a question. So we know, hey, Jasmine's age is 23, but how do you get that? Well, let's see if we can incorporate George to find out his age. So Jasmine is 3 years less than half of George's age. Now, don't forget, less than. That means to subtract the previous number. Jasmine is 3 years less than. Well, guess what? That means we're subtracting 3 from something. 3 years less than what? Well, 3. We're subtracting 3 from half of George's age, which we called G. So 1/2 G, I don't know why I created that much space, minus 3 is going to equal 23. And if you want to, you can turn that into 0.5. So as we add 3 over, I'm going to turn this into 0.5G, same thing, equals 26. And so what you're really doing here, you can divide 0.5, and we know George is going to be older because Jasmine's 3 years less than half his age. So how old is George? 26 divided by 0.5 is 52. So George, he's getting up there in years. He's starting to become an older man. I'm not going to say old because my dad is older than 52, but I don't want him to come find me. But guys, to finish up today, practice number 4, number 5. When you're ready, you can unpause the video and check your work here. And then if you have any questions, we'll talk about that at the end. All right. Check it out, guys. Number 4. Lights went out and it got spooky there for a second. Number 4. Looks like this individual worked on this stove for 2.5 hours. We set up the equation. H was number of hours to repair. Subtract 55 over, and then divide by 15. Number 5. We set it up. M is the number of minutes used this month. She used a total of 25.59 minutes. I'm sorry, that's what her total bill was. Then we set it up to where we know $9.99 per month regardless, plus it's 0.05, so 5 cents per minute that she uses. We subtract $9.99, divide by 0.05, and we find out that she has used 312 minutes. Man, I miss the days when a phone bill would be $25.59. Get me on that plan. So if you have any questions, guys, if you're in person, you'll be able to ask me. But if not, every 30 minutes during the school day, you can get on Google Meet, regardless of if it's your class or not, and you can ask me about anything. You can send me a remind. You can email me. Just know that if you do it after 4 or 5, I may not get back with you right away, just because between tutoring and tennis, I'll just be a little bit busier during those stretches. But I always try to get back to you as quick as I can. So I'll be talking to you and hopefully seeing you guys soon.